Right now, I've got a chef with Swallowtail Culinary Adventures and an organizer of an event coming up called Eat the Invaders. It's a pop-up at LaSalle College, and it ties us into this European green crab story we were just talking about a few moments ago. This invasive crab that's showing up on our waters here, prevalent in the Sauk Basin, is eating this thing away out of this problem. Robin Kort, chef, joining us on the line. How you doing?
I'm doing really well, yeah.
Great to get you here.
So just to talk about some crab.
Yeah, because you're into this as well, and it sounds like this is something beyond just these crabs you're talking about with this Eat the Invaders event. Can you maybe start there? What is this thing?
Yeah, so it's an event that features basically invasive or overabundant ingredients in British Columbia that we could basically feel good as humans by eating more of. So European green crab, for example, is super invasive. It basically destroys eelgrass beds, and it can really damage shellfish populations and native crab species. So it's great for humans to just, catch and eat more of these.
Yeah, because you're helping solve the problem, I guess, of getting them out of the environment if you're eating them. Now, when did you first cook these, and how do they cook?
Yeah, so the green crab is a small crab, so it's not like a Dungeness where you're going to be cracking huge claws or anything like that. It's a flavoring, so it's basically a crab. It's the most delicious tasting crab, I would say. You can even just take a bunch and throw them into like a rice cooker sort of thing, and it'll make this delicious crab rice for you.
Oh, okay. So you're not necessarily eating it for the meat. You're using it as to flavor a stock or rice or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, you can eat it as meat. If you find the large males, for example, there's lots of really cool culinary traditions. For example, in Korea, they do it's called gijang, and it's raw crab, actually. So you can marinate it in a really nice stock, sort of, break it in half and then eat it sort of like a popsicle, basically. It's just like a really delicious flavored raw crab meat. So there's different cultures around the world that work with small crabs. So bun ryu in Vietnam is like a crab soup sort of thing. So you can use it in lots of ways like that.
Gotcha. What will you be cooking? Are you doing green crabs at this Eat the Invaders pop-up?
Yeah, we are, and it's at LaSalle Culinary College near Renfrew SkyTrain station. But it's so we're going to be doing the crab rice. So that'll be served in the crab head shell, so they look really beautiful, with a little bit of marinated tofu. So we take the crab stock and we marinate tofu in it, and it ends up tasting like cheese almost. It's very cheesy and crabby. So it's just a delicious crab. We're also creating a spicy sweet pumpkin seed snack with the marinated crab, sort of you roast it and powder it, and you can make it into spice mixes. And I mean, we're also serving venison and rabbit and lots of other invasives, but the European green crab is one of them that is one of my favorites.
Robin, do you think we hear the word invasive and we stay away? It seems like we're slow to pick up on this when you're saying it's a delicious sort of low-hanging fruit of the ocean that we can readily harvest.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing with something, I think if European green crab, for example, it's sort of new and they're small, and it's not part of the culinary tradition that happens on our, everyone knows a Dungeness crab, what you do with it, right? But when something is new to being eaten in an area, these are really revered in Italy, for example. I think it's in Venice that they're eaten a lot because it's European green crab. That's actually where they're supposed to be, right? But yeah, something comes here, and yeah, if you think of an invasive, sometimes that can be a little daunting for sure as a word and a term.
Could we possibly export them back to Italy?
Take them back.
Maybe they want to buy them.
Honestly, the east coast of Canada is where we actually had to source the European green crab from, because we're still working out with the DFO, the Department of Fisheries, how can we get a commercial harvest going of these European green crabs so that we can harvest them here? Because our policies right now don't allow for that. We end up, they're a big problem on Haida Gwaii, and when they harvest them, they have to actually just discard them they can't actually be served as food yet because our systems and our policies aren't set up yet.
So we don't have a way to just go and get the local invasive ones yet to cook them. So we don't have a way to do that.
Well, commercially, like recreationally, I think the main thing is that you don't transport the European green crab because it can survive for 5 days on land live. So they can be really moved to other areas and spread easily. So Department of Fisheries is very careful about making sure people don't transport them. And as well, making sure people can identify them correctly and they don't confuse them with other native crabs. Because right now, recreationally, you can harvest them and there's no quota on how many you can harvest, obviously, because they're invasive and we want to get rid of them. But yeah, you have to be really careful that you can identify them properly.
I was told you could identify them by looking at sort of the number of kind of shell ridges they have at the front, something like that?
Exactly. That is the easiest way. So it's basically 5 spines, so on either side of the eye, and you would count them. I would just look that up on the Department of Fisheries site and just make sure you know how to identify a European green crab before you think about harvesting it.
So if you want to help out and you can recreationally grab one of these guys and correctly identify it, make some crab rice and help everybody out. That's the bottom line, eh?
That's the bottom line. And honestly, come out to our event. You can go to my website, swallowtail.ca, and grab a ticket to the event. That just, we're looking to educate the public and get them eating these things so that they can be excited to go out and harvest them. And you can take female and males. So that's a little bit different from, let's say, a red rock or Dungeness crab. You can only ever take males of those, whereas here they really encourage females. So, and the females sometimes have the roe, basically. They can carry 100,000 eggs basically in their little sack, which makes them, become extremely invasive. But you can eat that roe as well, right? So just think of caviar. It's almost like crab caviar.
Wow. We got to leave it there, but fascinating, interesting stuff. Invasive European green crab. It's a problem here on the coast, but maybe eating them is a part of a solution. But that's where we'll leave it for now. Robin Kort, local chef. Good luck with the event. Eat the invaders, and we'll maybe talk again with more crab recipes.
Thanks a lot.